Good morning, everyone. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And all glories to the members of the Hare Krishna Society and the Prabhupada Disciples Association, which is a non-institutionalized group of devotees that are propagating the truth as saw in our introductory slideshow today. So thank you very much for that. That was very enlivening, I must say. And before we get to the reading of the diaries, I wanted to mention that I was listening to a lecture this morning, Vijaya Pandit in Italy, and Prabhupada was describing the state of mind of a devotee. He was telling his audience that the devotee always depends on Krishna in every circumstance, no matter what it is. And he always understands that Krishna is taking care of him, protecting him in every situation, no matter what the circumstances are. And we see in Prabhupada's life, he came from India in 1965 on the Jaladuta. Now think about it, everyone. He had no possessions dharma bhavana with him per se, except 2 trunks of books, Srimad Bhagavatam, that he personally printed back in India before he departed. Very interesting when you connect the logic, the dots in this, and you understand Prabhupada's history, you realize that he was a man of destiny. His destiny was to become the greatest preacher in modern times since Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in disciplic succession. And Prabhupada was very humble in his position, even though he was exalted by everyone in the disciplic succession and empowered by them. And I always refer to this Vijaya Pandit that Prabhupada, everything that he spoke was Shastra. It wasn't that he would make a mistake. Oh, sometimes you hear his lectures, sometimes he corrects his English because he's speaking different language, although he was very articulate in English, absolutely. But was there a mistake? No, of course not. No mistake. This is a completely mundane perception of a pure devotee, because everything the pure devotee, as the representative of Krishna, speaks is Shastra. And this is something, Sean, that we realize is our position as disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. No compromise. I had a wonderful talk with Dharma Bhavana from Dallas, Texas yesterday. And we were discussing about the devotees in other groups. And we saw that no matter what you do to try to explain to them Prabhupada's position, somehow or other they can't accept it. For whatever reason. He also mentioned to me that in the ISKCON group, after Prabhupada's departure, these particular people that are accepting the roles of Acharya or Diksha Guru, they restrict their disciples. They censor them from going online and hearing any information from anyone else. Censorship. This, of course, is going on everywhere. Even governments censor the citizens with fake news. So like that, in the same way, this cheating propensity is all pervasive, by the way, everywhere. It is not only in the political atmosphere or in the business community. This cheating propensity is also in the spiritual communities of the world. And this is unfortunate because if one is a cheater, he cannot be able to explain properly the message of Lord Chaitanya through the lips of the pure devotee, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Not possible. Any kind of deviation from this is contamination. We are not compromised, everyone. I'll just finish up by saying I was looking at a lecture of a devotee in Alachua yesterday online. I look at these things, Sean, for to keep up, up to date on what's going on. And I took some time to listen, maybe 5 minutes. And he was explaining the philosophy quite nicely. Okay, good. And, I could see that other people that were listening, oh, well, that's Prabhupada speaking this philosophy. But underlying it, we have to remember that everyone that is in that group is compromised. Because, for example, in Alachua, if you don't read from the edited books, they don't let you give a speech. If you don't accept their guru system, they don't let you in the temple. And in this way, they censor Prabhupada's disciples that accept Prabhupada as present in his Vani incarnation. They think Vapu is more important. So these are things to think about throughout the week. And we'll move forward right now with the reading from Prabhupada's diaries. Here they are here. I got those from Brahmananda and Gargamuni personally when they came to stay at my house back in the 90s. Gargamuni runs a nice site now. He puts up good information, so if you get a chance to become part of that, you'll like the post that he puts up. March 27th, 1966. Back in time, everyone. In the life of Srila Prabhupada in his own handwriting. So sunrise, 5:51 a.m. Sunset, 6:20 p.m. And the moonset was 11:18 Saptami. Today, the whole day I was in the ashram. And I came back in the evening at 6:30 p.m. At 9 in the night, Dr. Mishra, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Ella, Mrs. Yolanda, and all others came to see the condition of my room. All of them are of the opinion that the superintendent has a hand in this mischief. I spent the night at Studio 501, and Mr. Howard of 71st Street became acquainted with me. He appears to be a good friend. So Prabhupada was robbed out of his room, his typewriter, and his dictaphone. Terrible. On Monday, the 28th of March, sunrise at 5:49 a.m. and sunset at 6:22 p.m., moonset at 0:29 p.m., Astami. Today, I went to see the landlord with Dr. Mishra and Mrs. Jones. The lady manager is already informed of the incident, and she told me that she has advised the superintendent to repair and fix up the bars to secure the room, but he has not done anything till now. Neither has he at his room let me consult my friends who may come in the evening and decide things what to do. So things are going to move forward here. One letter received from Sri Tirtha Maharaj: the state of the country is too much perplexing on account of food situation. Is understood that loss of life and property in Bengal is beyond imagination. Today, I deposited in the bank $35, and there was a meeting in the evening. 5 ladies and gentlemen attended. Bhagavad-gītā discussed, and no income. So Prabhupada, despite his setbacks, he keeps moving forward. On Tuesday, March 29th, Prabhupada is progressing forward without any hesitation. Sunrise, 5:48 a.m., sunset 6:23 p.m., moonset 1:36 a.m. Navami. Today I went to see the loft of Mr. Paul. It is a big hall with a kitchenette and shower bath, etc. It can be utilized for meetings and Sankirtan purposes very nicely. I think it will be a nice arrangement. I don't know if Lord Chaitanya wants me to change my present place just to facilitate my missionary work. I do not mind my loss for the typewriter and tape recorder if I am given the facility of my mission work. It is Lord Chaitanya's grace that Robert today brought me an old typewriter, workable. He's saying, I'm not sure. And another gentleman also, Mr. Peter Blaine of 161 West 75th Street, called me on Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. in his apartment. Number 3, income, one set of books sold, a $16.80 check. That's a set of Bhagavatams, those wonderful treasures, those collector items that we all hanker for. Wednesday, March 30th, sunrise, 5:46 a.m., sunset, 6:25 p.m., a moon set, 2:37 a.m., Dashami. Today, one letter received from Rockefeller Foundation denying any help for starting the International Institution for God Consciousness. So that's an early first draft name. The landlord's office visited. They want to clear 1 month's notice by vacating the room, so it has to be decided tonight in the meeting. Mr. Peter Bland handed over to me one German machine, bold type, in very nice condition. There was no cover, which has to be taken from him. Mrs. Rita Donbroff is unable to help because the man she knew is dead and gone. Praying Lord Chaitanya for guidance whether I shall go to Paul's Loft in the Bowling. It's a Bowery. So he wasn't really familiar with the areas, but it's the Bowery. So he's going from good, in a sense, to bad, but then he will keep on unfolding his mission in this exciting adventure. Deposited with the bank check for $16. Evening meeting was held, and the 7 ladies and a gentleman attended. So more people are coming out. No income today. It is settled that Shushman and Paul will come on Friday, April 1st, to take me to the loft with Paul in the Bowery. And the last insert today is Thursday, March 31st, 1966. Sunrise, 5:44 a.m., sunset, 6:26 p.m., moonset, 3:28 a.m., Akadasi, 30 days, clear notice served to S.N. Fletcher's landlord, registered number 413807, March 31st, 1966. No income, expenditure, registration, 80 only. 2 persons came today to meet me. The landlord repaired the window according to his liking. It is not approved by me. The door is still insecure. And here, let's go to the picture. So, at the Bowery. So here we go. On April 1st to June 30th, Prabhupada is going to move into this acid head who had a place in the Bowery, very unpredictable person and very dangerous, but Prabhupada went ahead despite all the difficulty, completely depending on Krishna. And that's what we will do at the Prabhupada Disciples Association with our wonderful global membership. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. We'll move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna, Jaya Radha Madhava by Srila Prabhupada, and then the class, as was introduced at the beginning of the program, which is Shodanandana Prabhu. All glories to the Sankirtan movement. Hari Bol.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Amasvat Paramahansa Paribhrajagacharya Sattvaresvara Samadhati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Navacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Mo Gopinath Sam Khanda Radha Khanda Giridhar Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Guru Dwarka Dham Ki Jai Swami Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai All glories to the Assembly All glories to the Assembly Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you from Srimad Bhagavatam 1:1:1. Narayanam namaskritya Narayanam namaskritya Naram cheva narottamam Naram cheva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat Tato jayam mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest Srimad Bhagavatam or Srimad Bhagavad-gītā after offering respectful obeisances, 1. to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2. to the Naranarayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3. to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4. to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. from Srimad Bhagavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. As we do every week, we will be reading a few Sanskrit verses in the introduction of the Bhagavad-gītā as given by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. This will be the introduction on page 1. We request everybody to follow along with us. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnanam Jana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagona Raghunathan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagona Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Kṛṣṇa, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpati Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Ghorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaham. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Again, welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. As we do every week, we will read 2 verses from a text called Bhagavad-gītā Dhyanam, which is a hymn from the Vaishnaviya Tantrasar, and this describes the glory of the Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. Check text number 5 and 6. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. I salute the teacher of the world, who is the son of Vasudeva, who killed Kamsa and Chanura, and is the one who gave divine joy to Devaki. Brishmadrona tata jayadrata jala gandhara nilotphala shalya grahabati kripena vahani karnena velakula ashvatama vikarna ghora makara duryodhana vartine sotimo kalu pandave nanana di kevartaka keshava. Bhishma and Drona were 2 banks. Jayadratha was the water. Shakuni, the king of Gandhara, was the blue lotus. Shalya was the crocodile. Kripa was the tide. Karna was the mighty wave. Ashwatthama and Vikarna were the dangerous alligators. And Duryodhana was the whirlpool. And the Pandavas crossed this river of war with Kṛṣṇa as their helmsman. Jai Sri Krishna Bhagavan Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. This week we'll be reading from chapter 10, text number 32 and 33, all synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Text number 32. You can try to repeat after the first line. Sarganam madirantascha. Sarganam madirantascha. Madhyam chevaham arjuna. Madhyam chevaham arjuna. Adhyatma vidya vidyanam. Adhyatma vidya vidyanam. Vadaha pravadatam aham. Vadaha pravadatam aham. Sarganam, of all creations. Adihi, beginning. Antaha, end. Cha, end. Madhyam, middle. Cha, also. Eva, certainly. Aham, I am. Arjuna, O Arjuna. Adhyatma vidya, spiritual knowledge. Vidyanam, of all education. Vadaha, natural conclusion. Prabhadatam, of arguments. Aham, I am. Translation. Of all creations, I am the beginning and the end, and also the middle. O Arjuna, of all sciences, I am the spiritual science of the self, and among logicians, I am the conclusive truth. Purport. Among created manifestations, the total material elements are first created by Mahavishnu and are annihilated by Lord Shiva. Brahma is the secondary creator. All these created elements are different incarnations of the material qualities of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, He is the beginning, the middle, and the end of all creation. Regarding the spiritual science of the self, there are many literatures such as the 4 Vedas, the Vedanta Sutra, and the Puranas, the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the Gita. These are all representatives of Kṛṣṇa. Among logicians, There are different stages of argument. The presentation of evidence is called japa. The attempt to defeat one another is called vitanda. And the final conclusion is called vada. The conclusive truth, the end of all reasoning processes, is Kṛṣṇa. Text number 33. Aksharanam makarosmi. Aksharanam makarosmi. Dvandvaha samasikasya cha. Dvandvaha samasikasya cha. Ahame kshayah kalu. Ahame kshayah kalu. Dataham vishvatu mukha. Dataham vishvatu mukha. Aksharanam, of letters. Akaraha, the first. Asmi, I am. Dvandvaha, dual. Samasikasya, compounds. Cha, and. Aham, I am. Eva, certainly. Akshayaha, eternal. Kalaha, time. Data, creator. Aham, I am. Vishvatomukhaha, Brahma. Translation. Of letters, I am the letter A. And among compounds, I am the dual word. I am also inexhaustible time. And of creators, I am Brahma, whose manifold faces turn everywhere. Purport. Akara, the first letter of the Sanskrit alphabet, is the beginning of the Vedic literature. Without Akara, nothing can be sounded. Therefore, it is the beginning of sound. In Sanskrit, there are also many compound words, of which the dual word, like Rama, Krishna, is called Dvandvaha. For instance, Rama and Krishna have the same rhythm and therefore are called dual. Among all kinds of killers, time is the ultimate because time kills everything. Time is the representative of Krishna because in due course of time, there will be a great fire and everything will be annihilated. Among the creators and living entities, Brahma is the chief. The various Brahmas exhibit 4, 8, 16, etc. heads accordingly, and they are the chief creators in their respective universes. The Brahmas are representatives of Krishna. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyayam Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Bhagavad-vandanam kādhyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sarkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshatah Adadanastrinam Danteridam Yachi Punah Punah Srimadrupa Padam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Sat Karomi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Krishna, in this sequence of verses, is describing some very important points. In text number 32, Krishna says, of all creations I'm the beginning and the end and also the middle. Of all sciences I am the spiritual science of the self, and among logicians I am the conclusive truth. Prabhupada in the purport in the first paragraph mentions, among created manifestations, the total material elements are first created by Mahavishnu and are annihilated by Lord Shiva. Brahma is the secondary creators. All these created elements are different incarnations of the material qualities of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he is the beginning, the middle, and the end of all creation. We've often discussed how the Vedic literatures, such as the Bhagavad-gītā, Srimad Bhagavatam, the Vedas, the Puranas, the Itihasas, such as the Ramayana, Mahabharata, the various Samhitas, there are so many different Vedic literatures, are very precise and detailed in their description of the creation of the material world, the creation, maintenance, and destruction of the material world. Srila Prabhupada used to compare the Vedic literatures to a large encyclopedia and other religious sectarian literatures to that of an ordinary pocket dictionary. Now, both of them will have various definitions of words, except that the encyclopedia will have a much more detailed information. And this is what we have here. For example, in the Bhagavad-gītā, Prabhupada refers to the creation of the material world, and he mentions created by Mahavishnu. How is the world created? There's a very interesting verse by Srila Prabhupada. This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 1. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 1, where Srila Prabhupada explains the process. I'm going to read here. This is very important. Sutta uvacha jagrihe parusham rupam Bhagavan mahadadibihi sambhutam sudasakalam adoloka sisrikshaya. Sutta said, in the beginning of the creation, the Lord first expended himself in the universal form of the Purusha incarnation and manifested all the ingredients for the material creation. And thus, at first, there was the creation of the 16 principles of material action. This was on the intention of creating the material universes. Purports. As it is said in the Bhagavad-gītā that the personality of God is Sri Kṛṣṇa maintains this material universe by extending as part of plenary expansions. So this Purusha form is the confirmation of the same principle. The original personality of Godhead Vasudeva, or Lord Krishna, who is famous as the son of King Vasudeva or King Nanda, the very same personality of Godhead is full with all opulences, all potencies, all fames, all beauties, all knowledge and all renunciations. Part of his opulences is manifested as impersonal Brahman, and part of his opulences is manifested as Paramatma. This Purusha feature of the same personality of God is Sri Krishna, is the original Paramatma manifestation of the Lord. There are three Purusha features in the matter of material creation, and this form who is known as the Karano Dakshaya Vishnu, is the first of the three. That's the Mahavishnu. The others are known as the Garbho Dakshaya Vishnu and the Kshiro Dakshaya Vishnu, which we shall know one after another. The innumerable universes are generated from skin holes of this Karano Dakshaya Vishnu, and in each one of the universes, the Lord enters as Garbho Dakshaya Vishnu. Then Prabhupada goes on to describe that the Bhagavad-gītā, this is also mentioned that the material world is created at a certain interval and then again it is destroyed. This creation and destruction is done by the supreme will on account of the conditioned souls or the Nitya Baddha living beings. Now this is quite significant because we have all seen the pictures of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the cover of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. This was the original cover that Prabhupada gave in 1962 when he published his Srimad Bhagavatam. We have Goloka Vrindavan on top and the material world here with Mahavishnu, Garbho Dakshaya Vishnu, and Kshiro Dakshaya Vishnu. These three Vishnus are called the Purusha incarnations that basically, this is how the material world is created. Now, there's a lot of details in Srila Prabhupada's books. Everything is very nicely described. This portion of Srimad Bhagavatam on Canto 1, Chapter 3 is very detailed, explaining the position and how this whole sequence of creation takes place. The Bhagavad-gītā just gives a very small summary of the glories of Lord Krishna. The Srimad Bhagavatam expands upon that and gives many detailed informations. This is very important because every person who is intelligent will ask questions. Who am I? Where do I come from? Where do I go after the end of this material body? Who is God? What is this creation? How was the creation affected? How did this whole material world come about? What are all these other planets? Who lives there, if anybody? Of course, we do know from Vedic literatures that there are inhabitants in all different planets. So all of this information is given in detail in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is very important. An intelligent person in the age of Kali should take advantage of how everything takes place. Everything is explained in detail. It is not that there is lack of knowledge or somebody has the need to speculate. Our modern scientists and philosophers are constantly engaged in various speculations and theories about how the material world was created. There are so many different ideas, one of which is the Big Bang. Everything came out of a Big Bang. Yeah, there was a Big Bang that was originated from Kṛṣṇa through the agency of Lord Brahma. Just like in the Bible, there is reference in the beginning was the Word. That word was Om, vibrated by Lord Brahma, the chief engineer of the universe. Just like in this material world, if you construct a big building, a bridge, an airport, a port for boats, there are so many different buildings and different projects. It requires engineers, persons who have knowledge of how to construct, how to design such things. Similarly, in this material world, there is a designer. There is an engineer. Ultimately, Kṛṣṇa is the supreme engineer, and Lord Brahma, who manifests all of this creation and living entities, he is the secondary engineer. So this is very important. These descriptions actually give the living entity the chance to become acquainted with this whole process of creation. The entire Srimad Bhagavatam has so many descriptions in the first canto, second canto, third canto of the sequence of creation, how the different living entities come into the material world, how this entire material world was populated, the different planets, the living entities, the animals, the birds, the reptiles, the different kinds of living entities, how knowledge was gradually spread in human society with the knowledge of the Vedas. So much information is there. Simply want us to hear from the right source, not from speculators. Mental speculators who concocted there may have been a big bang or some big mixture of chemicals. They don't know. These are all theories. These are all theories. Srila Prabhupada used to be very critical of modern science for suggesting that man eventually evolved from monkeys. And Prabhupada used to say, well, why is it that we don't see it now? They claim, oh, that was millions of years ago, billions of years ago. Why now? Why not now? Actually, one Prabhupada disciple, Hamsadura Swami, in Sri Lanka, in Colombo, in 1977, challenged a scientist to produce a human being from a monkey. Of course, they laugh at this, but when he was directly challenged in public, he had no answer. How do you produce? Why is it that we don't see monkeys resulting in human beings? Because each living entity, each species is specifically individual. It does not evolve from one living entity to another. That's not how it works. All these different living entities, 8,400,000 according to the Padma Purana, are all created in the beginning of creation. They all exist at different times and different planets. It is not that one species evolve into another. That is a nonsense proposition, because that idea negates the position of God. It basically invalidates the position of God. This is an atheistic theory, which is simply meant to negate the eternal presence of the Supreme Lord. And this is also described in the Bhagavad-gītā, in the chapter of the divine and demoniac nature, Jagadohoranishwaram, that the atheistic mentality is to deny the presence of an Ishvara, a controller, a creator and controller. Why is it that in this world we see that everything that we see is created? Just like I'm sitting in a room, there's a computer screen, there's a light stand, there's a table, there's a bookshelf. None of this happened by chance. None of this is manifested by chance. Even the very same people that are propounding these false ideas and nonsensical theories, their education didn't happen by chance. Their living quarters didn't happen by chance. Somebody had to design it in building. Somebody had to design the very university or educational institutions where they're teaching. It didn't fall from the sky. It did not happen by chance. So this foolish idea that things happen by chance, this is nonsense. This is to avoid the responsibility of their actions, propounding the atheistic idea that there's no God, there's no life after death, you can do whatever you like, you can enjoy your senses. No, there is life after death. Recently, I saw an interview where somebody was asking a very famous person, very prominent person in America, well, what happens after death? And he says, nobody knows. Well, some people know. Kṛṣṇa knows in the Bhagavad-gītā. It's described very nicely what will happen. According to your actions, you will get some karma. It's very simple. We see in this life, people who perform certain kind of activities will get a certain result. If you associate with criminals and engage in criminal activities, you will get one result. You go to school, you get an education, you study properly, you get some work, you will get a different result. Similarly, it is not very complicated to understand. Simply one has to hear from the right sources. What is that? Iti Shushramadiranam. In the Vedas, there's one Upanishad called a Ishopanishad. Ishopanishad is a very short Upanishad describing the position of the living entities and the position of the material world. And there's one place, it is Iti Shushramadiranam. It has been heard from the great authorities, Dhira. Dhira means self-controlled, one who is sober, one who is intelligent. Now, we don't mean just material intelligence, but the ability to distinguish between matter and spirit. Bhagavad-gītā describes intelligence as the ability to understand Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi, Dukkha Dosha Eva Anudarsanam. One who understands the danger and the problems with birth, death, old age, and disease, that person is considered intelligence. Because there is a solution. There is a solution. The solution is to accept a bona fide acharya or spiritual preceptor, follow the principles of spiritual life, and thus, even in this very lifetime, become liberated from the miseries of material existence. There is a different world Krishna describes in the Bhagavad-gītā. He describes that spiritual world where there's no more birth, no more death, no more suffering, no more anxiety. It is not impersonal. It is a personal place where you will live in a specific spiritual body. I was having a conversation with a contractor friend recently, and he said, well, one who died will have a spirit existence, will have a spirit situation. I said, well, what does that look like? What is that? He said, well, that we don't know. I said, well, the Bhagavad-gītā does give a description. The Srimad Bhagavatam, the Vedic literatures give a description. But the difficulty in this world, although people see everyone is dying every day, they don't make any arrangement. Ahani gachanti yamalayam, sheshastaram amichanti, kimashtaryam mataparam. There was a conversation between Dharmaraj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, the chief of the Pandavas, and Dharmaraj, the god of death. And he was asking, what is the most wonderful thing in the world? And Maharaj Yudhishthira replied, the most wonderful thing in the world is that every single day, everyone sees that so many people are dying. So many people are going to the abode of Yama. Yama is the Lord of Death who dispenses the fate and the position of all the living entities after death, especially the human beings. We see every day happening. Ahani gachanti yamalayam, sheshastaravamichan, kimastarem. What can be a greater wonder than this? People do not understand. They don't make any arrangement. They see it happening every single day. Their grandfather died, their father died, their mother died, their uncle died, their neighbor dies. But they think, oh, this will not happen to me. Or if it happens, there's no problem. But they don't make any arrangement. There is a solution. Krishna describes in the Bhagavad-gītā, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mam iti so Arjuna. For one who remembers, one who knows the nature of my activities, for that person, he doesn't have to come back in this material world. That means to engage in the service of that supreme person, Krishna. And this is given by hearing the message of Bhagavad-gītā, Srimad Bhagavatam, from a bona fide acharya, Dhira, one who is undisturbed by the influence of the material energy. Everyone in the material world is disturbed by Maya, the influence of the modes of nature. One who is beyond those disturbances, one who is not affected by the dualities of this material world, is called a dhira. And to hear from such a person is the greatest benefit, the greatest boon of the human form of life. And such a person is found with his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and his wonderful teachings in his Vani incarnation, in his books. Simply one has to submissively hear the message and practice spiritual life according to his realization and his recommendations. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much, Yashodanandana Prabhu, for that excellent explanation from this chapter, the 10th chapter, The Opulence of the Absolute, which describes the many features of Krishna within this world that we live in, that he is everything. So it explains in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the Nectar of Devotion, in the introduction, the definition of Krishna. Krishna means and includes everything, and we are very insignificant, but we think we are very important. When you look at the universe, it is so expansive. There are billions and billions of planets and trillions of living entities. And this is just a small portion of God's creation. Yet we think we're important. This is unfortunate for all of us. And it's very difficult to overcome that. This misunderstanding of oneself is due to false ego, ahamkara. The subtle body is composed of the mind, intelligence, and the false ego. So we're either thinking, deciding, or misidentifying with who we are. And this is our problem. And this requires a person to be cleansed of these misconceptions of the self. Because we are born into confusion and delusion. And so the human form of life is a life to be trained. We have to be trained how to elevate ourselves out of the animal state of existence. Not mudha, the donkey. This modern world these days, people are simply mudha, donkeys, the donkey class of men. I mentioned earlier, I was watching this so-called success story of this person that started a sporting event. And he was saying, just work hard at what you do. And then after you become successful, just go out and enjoy yourself. Well, what does that mean for him? Well, he goes and gambles. He goes and drinks. He goes and eats whatever he thinks he wants to taste without any discrimination. Complete mudha, animal. So the animal form of life is not for the human being. It is only possible if we are trained properly, and somehow or other, Prabhupada came from India in 1965, and he started the Krishna consciousness movement, which was taken up with great enthusiasm by the Western people, amazingly. And I know that Yashodanandana Prabhu first contacted Srila Prabhupada in 1967 at the Expo. So that was only a couple of years after Prabhupada's. Right now we're reading in the March section of 66. So Prabhupada was moving very quickly to educate people because he realized he had a limited amount of time to do this. And so the elevation of the human society is possible, as you mentioned, Yashoda, by the association of an enlightened, pure devotee of Krishna. And Prabhupada is that guru. This is possible through training. Guru, Shastra, Sadhu. And Prabhupada came as the personal example of guru to enlighten us on the purpose of human life. And he did it through his Shastra. He started with his original Bhagavatams and then progressed in developing the mission over only 11 years. That's it, 11 years. I can remember Yashodanandana Prabhu when he began his marathon to produce the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He was in Los Angeles and he undertook this marathon, and he was pushing his disciples, work harder, work faster, in his efforts to produce these books for the benefit of the human society. So then and into the future. So his books, his lectures, and his letters are all Shastras. And they give us direct insight, everyone, in how to rise up out of the animal platform. And the sadhus are his bona fide disciples who truly understand who Prabhupada is. Bona fide guru, bona fide disciples. So we should seek out the association of sincere, surrendered devotees of Srila Prabhupada only. This is also very important. Good association. I relish the association of our God brothers, the ones in our in our group that we have, because they're all sincere in their commitment to Srila Prabhupada, to spread Krishna consciousness according to his direction. We also become advanced by chanting Hare Krishna, by purifying ourselves, by offering our bhoga to Krishna, and it becomes prasadam. And by helping others to find the purpose of human life, share this Krishna consciousness understanding with other people. And this is the real success story of a devotee. Because if you do this, your life will become peaceful, your life will become focused, and your life will be surrendered into the service of Krishna, which is our constitutional position. We have a lot of very interesting devotees with us today on the call. Dharma Bhavana, Janas Priya. I see we have Krishna Kishore in Mexico has joined us. And I'd like to ask these devotees to maybe speak for Nilesh Sharma as well, our friend from Miami. I wanted them to speak on their realizations and understandings of these verses from today's Bhagavad-gītā. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas, please.
Oh, Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, as far as the creation goes,
yes,
I've always been interested in it. Remember back in the college courses of biology, where the theory of evolution was taught as a fact. It was just presented as a theory, but at the same time, if you didn't accept it, you were considered outside the scientific community, outside of the realm of common sense and knowledge. In other words, there was no other explanation possible. They had some prejudice against this idea that some supreme being could create everything. And of course, in this world, all the people that we know that live in Russia, America, South America, all of us are limited people. We have very limited consciousness, limited presence in just one place. So this idea that some human being or person or supreme being could be unlimited, that is a pretty amazing thing. So they had this prejudice that it's not possible for any type of supreme being to exist. And I just had another kind of comment how each of us may be in different areas and we may be kind of discouraged in so many ways that, but Krishna sees our troubles. He knows that each of us have an opportunity, even if we're by ourselves. Like if I remember one devotee, I think it was Yashodananda Prabhu, he first saw a devotee in a park by himself, just chanting kirtan. And if I remember correctly, hearing that is how he first was introduced to the idea of Krishna consciousness. So one person, even in our local areas, can go to the parks, have a little madra, sit down, have some halva, a little spoon or some cups, some sweets, and do a kirtan. And like in the 1970s, a lot of times one devotee would do kirtan for some time, and then after 10 or 20, 30 minutes, speak for about 5 or 10 minutes to explain what is the Hare Krishna mantra. So these are simple things that we can do. And that's all I have to say for today. Thank you, Haribol.
Thank you very much. In Dallas, Texas, Dharma Bhavana doing his preaching work. And we have Jonas Priya, who's in Hawaii.
And do the
And he gets up very early for this, actually. It's I believe it's 6 hours before. Prabhu, maybe you could share some of your realizations this morning to our
Hare
group.
Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, please accept all humble obeisances. Yes, this Big Bang Theory is so ridiculous. There used to be a radio show called Radio Ram by Madhu Pandit, and he has a skit in there about the Big Bang, and he says, yes, so you go and put a pile of plywood and metal and glass and all kinds of things, and then you put a dynamite and you blow it up, and then you end up with a beautiful house. So this is the example that these stupid people claim. They write a big book as fat as a phone book. And at the very last page, they always say, of course, this is only a theory. But while they're presenting their philosophy, they're presenting it as a fact, and people are so innocent or stupid that they follow. So when we see the creation according to the Vedic systems, it's very, very nicely explained and it's scientific. And you could see that, yes, this could be a way better possibility how the creation was. And of course, we know that the Vedas don't lie. There's no need for the Vedas to lie. It's Kṛṣṇa. So the great sadhus, saints speaking, writing all these things down for our benefit so we could understand these things. And I see my friend, it's on the class today from Tijuana, Mexico, Mahananda. He's a very, very nice devotee. He's put on Ratra Yatra for 20 years, single-handed in Tijuana, which in Mexico things are like in India, a little more difficult. So he's a very, very sincere devotee. He travels through many places in Mexico, although it's extremely dangerous, and he has little study groups in different cities. He's very, very active, and I've been talking to him for a while, and I hope he keeps attending these classes. And so if we keep on inviting people to come and join us on this class, I think it's very important. If we could all invite one person, then we will have 100 people here. Just one person. So we need to try to do this because it's very satisfying to see somebody new coming to this group. So let's try and do this. I keep inviting people, and sometimes people come and they come for one class, but we gotta keep on trying. Yes, we know that Prabhupada was very, very patient with everybody, and he didn't push or force anybody to do anything. So we follow his principle, and we simply try to be encouraging of people and tell them, look, this is a very nice group of devotees. We're not speculating. We're not after money or fame. We simply want to propagate Prabhupada's wisdom to whoever wants to hear. And we base all our studies on Prabhupada's original books. because we understand that this is the greatest gift that Srila Prabhupada has given us is these books. So please read the books, at least touch the book every day if you don't want to read it. As Yasodananda says, simply by touching these books, Prabhupada told us. And people, if people get a book on the street and they take it in their home, they put it in their home, that book would eventually create a devotee. And this is guaranteed. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you very much for your encouragement, Prabhu, and your constant effort to invite people to this humble program. This is a vast medium, and we have a small amount of people that are participating, but we do appreciate very much new people that do join us and participate on a regular basis. It's a sadhana program. And I see that I'm going to, you mentioned about Mexico. I am going to Mexico this week, actually. Is it this week? Yeah. On Thursday, I'm going to be south of Mexico, and I've been communicating with a devotee in Mexico who's very committed to the Sankirtan mission, Kṛṣṇa Kishore, who's also a friend of Janice Priya's. And then we'll have Mahananda speak after him. Kṛṣṇa Kishore, are you able to speak to the class today and share some of your realizations with us? Kṛṣṇa Kishore.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavats, everyone. Please, my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Sorry, Prabhu, I have my headphones and I was listening from distance because I was washing the bathroom, because now it's almost time for us to go for preaching, and we are arranging also some gas issue that we had here. So, but very nice class, Prabhu. I think what can I say about my realizations? I think you all are very learning the philosophy. So I cannot say much, Prabhu, because the water is flowing out because I'm washing the restroom. So please apologize me, Prabhu. But anyway, I'm listening to the class from distance. That's why it took me a little bit of time to come to the computer and activate the microphone. Haribol Prabhu, Jai Prabhupada.
And we look forward to seeing you and having kirtan and prasadam. I'm going to come to Mexico and cook. Of course, I was the head cook in Toronto Temple back in 1972. So I have some experience from years and years of practice, and we're looking forward to your visit. I see that Mahananda Das is with us as well. It was nice to hear those comments from Janice Priya concerning you, Prabhu. Is it possible you can speak on the microphone to us? Mahananda. We can't be sure. Just try to click your button, Prabhu. Okay, well, next time. Yashodanandana Prabhu, could you further comment for our enlightenment here this morning?
Trying to make things short because there's many good devotees here that probably have some very, very good insights, such as Neil Shyama Prabhu, Dr. Neil Prabhu, and other devotees.
Yes.
Basically, I'm going to reinforce this point that we were discussing. In order to understand the various essential questions that confront human beings in this life, they can get full answers, complete satisfactory answers by hearing from bona fide authoritative sources, such as Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was this especially empowered avatar, Shakti Avesha avatar. We don't compare him to a Vishnu avatar, but he was an especially empowered living entity who came from the spiritual world to deliver this message, to present the message of the teachings of Lord Chaitanya for the benefit of human society. And anybody who is fortunate can come in touch with his teachings, can come in contact with his teachings, hear the message, and practice them in his life and get all spiritual benefit, to make things very simple. Hare Krishna.
Okay, and we have our friend from Miami, Florida. We have devotees from all over the world attending these programs and setting up their own Namhata programs in their area. And we ask you to please distribute our flyer that we've created. We've sent it out to everyone, and distribute it to other people in the hope that they'll be serious enough to set up their own sadhana program, which includes three classes a week with our group, which is 4.5 hours. Prabhu, Shama, please share
Hare
us
Krishna, Prabhuji.
your
Jai Srila
question
Prabhupada.
or your comments. Please go ahead.
Hare
Always
Krishna.
interesting. Yes, Haribo.
Very interesting class, very interesting shlokas which we are discussing, where we realize that Lord Brahma is also Krishna, and of course Lord Brahma is a jiva.
Yes.
And many a times when we are associated with Maya, our ego, our false ego kind of expands.
Yeah.
And you can remember that from the story of Lord Brahma going to see Dwarkadish, Lord Krishna in Dwarika, and he tries to walk into the palace when the Dwarpals halt him and says, "Hey, wait a minute, who are you?" Says, "You don't know me? I'm Brahma, the creator."
Yeah.
Says, "Please stay here. Let me go and report it to Krishna and I'll come back." And of course, Brahmaji is already feeling a little bit insulted. And then when the Dwarpal comes back, he says, "Krishna is asking which Brahma." "What do you mean, which Brahma?" Right? And of course, when he goes in, he declares, "I'm Chaturmukhi Brahma, the four-headed Brahma, just like Krishna." And he's wondering,
Yes.
what's happened to Krishna? He doesn't even know who I am. I'm the only creator. And of course, when he goes in, he sees the Ashtamukhi Brahma, the 16-Mukhi Brahma. And that's when he realizes that he's an insignificant person compared to Krishna. My question, coming to Yashodanand Prabhu and yourself and all other senior devotees, is how come the fake gurus of ISKCON do not fear what is awaiting their destiny? Especially the present living ones, when they have seen historically what has happened to others, how they have met with their ends. And especially when we are always preaching is that nothing is permanent in this material world, everything is impermanent. Of course, they have seen the puja or the respect which Srila Prabhupada commanded. So many a times looking at that, we may want us to command the similar respect. But you both have gone through these phases where I'm sure somebody has approached you and says, "Hey, you can become an initiating guru too."
Oh, yeah.
What stopped you from falling into or succumbing to this particular allurement which the fake gurus cannot, and what is their destiny?
I can briefly answer, and I'll have Yashoda also give an answer. It's the capacity of a person. Prabhupada explains that certain people have the capacity to understand to remain humble servant. And other people, they have a desire to utilize the assets of Prabhupada's mission for their own personal self-aggrandizement. It's a characteristic, a destiny of people. So some of us, like all of you, all of us in our group, we have a desire to serve, to take that position, because we know that anything in the material world has no real value. It's zero. But if you take Prabhupada and put yourself at his lotus feet and his service, you'll get the maximum benefit from that compared to anything else that exists in your life and anything in the universe. This position is a blessing for a devotee, and people that are devotee, I speak to Yashoda about this constantly. We're so blessed. You're blessed. We're all blessed with this simple position as the servant of Prabhupada and the Sankirtan mission. There is nothing more exalted than this role. But these people that are taking up this role of guru, diksha guru, some type of business that they go into, it's simply due to false ego. That's it. It is very hard to overcome. Like we had the situation in Miami last week with this Adikarta. Sad to see that, but this is going on. It's been going on ever since Prabhupada's departure, and it's self-evident, but people can't see it. They can't see the state of that these so-called Diksha gurus have fallen into, with decrepit bodies and difficult situations which are karmically manifested due to their sinful activity. It's instant karma right in front of your eyes, and still you can't see it. So we're blessed. Yashoda Nandana, please.
A very important topic which a lot of people have discussed, and it's a very important question. I'm sure in your country, in India, many educated people are very familiar with this question that you're bringing up, because over there are many gurus. There are bona fide gurus, there are non-bona fide gurus. That's why in the Shastras it is described that one should only accept this mantra from a bona fide Vaishnava Sampradaya. Sampradaya vinihiyate mantraste nishpalamataha. That if one receives his mantra from a non-authorized source, nishpalamataha, there will be no result. It will be useless. So the problem we're facing now is we have a full institutional disobedience of Prabhupada's instruction, specifically in the matter of initiation, in the matter of conducting the affairs of the movement. As we keep discussing this issue, which I'm sure that you're familiar and your good wife is familiar, if you go to a temple, there are so many things that are very different. They're done very differently, that have changed since Srila Prabhupada started his movement, and he introduced the various practices, the various programs. They've changed things to make it more appealing, to make it more popular. So everything becomes compromise. It's just like milk. You know, in India, you can buy buffalo milk or camel milk, but it's not the same as cow milk. It has not the same effect. When you're a physician, you know, if you take buffalo milk, it doesn't have the same nutritional benefits as cow milk. It's different. It's actually harmful for the brain. But because it's white and it's liquid, some people think we'll mix it together, make more money that way. But that's not the same. So similarly, these practices, these standards that Prabhupada has given, the standard for kirtan, for arti, for offering prasadam, the original books, the method of preaching, unless these things are followed properly, according to the directive of the acharya, it would just create utpat. Utpat means chaos. And that's what we're seeing, because this position of guru has been taken as a retirement program. They get money from the disciple. Do they benefit the devotees? Just like in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 8th canto, there's a place where Srila Prabhupada describes that all the money belongs to Krishna, and no devotee should claim proprietorship over money. And the money should be distributed equally amongst the devotees. In other words, all the devotees that do the work of the Krishna conscious movement, they should be the beneficiaries. Did the Gurukul children benefit from what happened? Did the regular devotees benefit from what happened? No. And there are so many unanswered questions about the behavior of these people. As far as the specific answer to your question, we'll have to let Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya, and Chitragupta decide what will happen. But as Vishwakarma Prabhu mentioned, we see every single day some example right in front of our eyes of the reaction that are taking place when somebody disobeys Prabhupada. But some people can't see it. They can't see it. Just like you're a dentist or a dental surgeon, you will see some patients, because you will see when you get into their mouth, there's a problem. They need fillings, they need some bridge, they need some kind of work. But even if you explain it to them, some of them, they will not understand. They're so addicted to eating nonsense food, to eat candy, to constantly eat sugary drinks, but this will rot the teeth. But if you point it out to them, even though it's right there, you will show it to them, it doesn't register. And you tell them you have to do this to rehabilitate your dental health. Oh, really? I have to do that. So this is the same situation. It is not a complicated situation with these people. They're not stupid. They understand that what they have done is not the proper thing to do, but they don't want to correct it because of the money problem. Guravo Bahavo Shanti Shishya Vittapaharakaha. In the Padma Purana, there's a description, a conversation between Lord Shiva and his wife Parvati, where Lord Shiva is telling Parvati, there are many gurus who are very expert, Shishya Vittapaharakaha, to take the wealth and the money of the disciple. Durlabha Sadguru Devi. It is very rare to find a bona fide guru, Shishya Shantapaharaka, who can take away the misery of the disciple. And this is the great power of Srila Prabhupada. He can solve all the answers, he can give all the answers, and he can give all the solutions. Simply one has to hear. Just like if a patient comes to you and he needs some help, unless he's willing to hear what you're going to suggest him, how will his dental health improve? It's not possible. He has to hear. Otherwise, it will remain the same problem. So, Hare Krishna. I hope it helps.
Thank you very much, everyone, for attending today's program. And I wanted our production manager, Vinkat Bhatta, to please put up our invitation card that he designed for us very brilliantly, actually. It's quite colorful. And we do want you to, if you don't have the invitation card, it could, when you take it to your printer, it's designed originally for a 4-inch width, 6-inch high card for distribution to people when you meet them, so that they can get an introduction into our weekly 4.5-hour schedule to add to their sadhana program. And on the back, if you flip it over, you'll see there's a space at the top, at the back there, above the Hare Krishna Society, and you can put in your own phone number or contact information, whatever you feel comfortable with, at the back, so people can locally get in touch with you, and you can help them, because they do need local association and training. And it comes from all of you wonderful devotees in different parts of the world to give people direction. And then you see all of the contact information, at least on social media, that we have, so that they can keep in touch. And of course, then they can move forward into their own particular practice of bhakti yoga that we have. So thank you, everyone, for participating today. And we'll move forward with the chanting of Hare Krishna, and then the Vanchakalpa prayers, which is Shoda, and then the closing. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'll see you tomorrow for Srimad Bhagavatam class at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time in Canada and the US. So mark it in your calendars and carry on with a blissful day of Hare Krishna work in the service of Srila Prabhupada.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaurata Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Vijay Pandit, come va, Bhakta Zoran, come va?
Bene, bene,
Molto bene.
molto bene. Grazie.
Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnava Vangsha Sri Rupam Sagrajayatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tang Sajivam Sadaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam.
Hello.
Thanks everybody for participating. We will see you all tomorrow at 7 o'clock a.m., 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.